We welcome you to another edition of Snap the Pigskin. Hello, everybody. Noah Clark getting ready for week number 4. The NFL season is wrapped up with week 3. We're recording this episode on a Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll get it out to you as soon as possible. Noah Clark joined by my former co-host, the man who now runs the Puckworms and Linksworms podcasts as well, Mr. Sam Gemini. Kedrick Stumbris is out this week. He will not be. He will be back soon. He's out this week. Had to attend to a personal matter. But now, Sam, you get to fill in Kedrick's shoes. How's it feel being in that spot?
Yeah, Kedrick needs to get back as soon as possible because I mean, Kedrick is out, and so I guess I just get stuck here having to fill in with Noah Clark. I mean, this is just like the days of old Snap the Pigskin, and I don't like it because the Bears are still bad, and nothing.
A tale as old as time.
Nothing has gotten more fun about any of this. So I really resent the fact that I'm stuck on here right now with you. I'm not looking forward to this any bit whatsoever.
But you are in. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for having me on the show, Noah. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me on the show. I'm glad to be on here, but I also hate being on here. But I'm glad to be on here.
So what you're saying is you're going to quit the show again?
Football. I hate football. I'm about to quit football, Noah, right now.
Well, hopefully you won't quit football because I know that's one of America's favorite sports. But let's get right into it here. So, Sam, we got a little NFL news, and we do this. It's a new thing on our show called the Down Markers or whatever, NFL News of the Week. So we start with first down to fourth down here on this show. So let's begin with first down, and let's start with the Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur, who is potentially in the front running for Coach of the Year. We had conversations about this on the student section and on this show. Matt LaFleur, why does he not get Coach of the Year? It's because you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. Well, that hasn't been the case the last couple games. Matt LaFleur coaching Malik Willis, a guy who was traded from the Tennessee Titans to the Green Bay Packers and ultimately has won 2 games for them. Not only winning 2 games, but winning 2 games in incredible fashion. And the Titans game too, last week, holy cow, did they dominate on the other side of the ball. The Packers owning the Titans in time of possession, owning the Titans in rush yards, holding the Titans really in check and holding Will Levis in check. And the big thing is that defense was incredible as well. Jeff Hafley, 8 sacks in that game. That is a Packers high. That is a team high in their history, as well as two interceptions and a forced fumble in that game. They got the job done. But Sam, I know you don't want to start out this show like this, but Matt LaFleur getting the job done against the Tennessee Titans. Is he right now the potential coach of the year front runner in the NFL?
Look, I'll answer that in a second. Yes, I think probably. I mean, but I think that I just say I think it's cool, this first down, second down, third down thing. That's a cool format for the show. Is that in any way similar to Dante's 9 stages of hell? Because I feel like that's right now I'm in like the first stage of hell. We have to open it with how great the Packers are. At some point, I'm sure we're going to talk about how just miserable the Bears are. And then we're going to have to talk about what's his name? Jayden Daniels did on Monday Night Football. I mean, this is just like how miserable can we make Sam on this show? But yes, I do think that you said, as you alluded to before, we talked about Matt LaFleur in the past with Coach of the Year conversations and how he probably wasn't going to win because he had the Hall of Fame quarterback, MVP quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, which typically you don't see the coach of the year come from a team with a legendary quarterback like that. And now I mean, totally the opposite. Obviously, Jordan Love looked really good in the second half of last year and has pretty much arrived as their franchise quarterback. Now with him being injured, I kind of thought maybe they really wouldn't still be getting adequate quarterback play, but I guess they kind of are from Malik Willis, and they've found a way to just with good fundamentals, a good run game. Josh Jacobs has been very solid. Offensive line play is quality, and just in general, I think Matt LaFleur. There's a couple I've disagreed with some of his calls, particularly some of like his decisions on whether to go for it on fourth down in the past. But overall, he to me right now it seems like one of the premier coaches in the NFL, and incredibly impressive the way they lost the first game of the season with Jordan Love getting injured. You put the backup quarterback in there and they haven't missed a beat. They've won both games with Malik Willis starting. And now they've got a huge game against the Vikings at Lambeau Field this Sunday, which I'm really interested by because the Vikings I thought would be terrible. But hey, what do you know? They lucked into Sam Darnold. So they hit the Sam Darnold lottery somehow. Which, by the way, that is the most Chicago Bears thing to have happen that I can possibly think of. Like the idea that the Vikings signed Sam Darnold after multiple failed seasons in the NFL. He was basically irrelevant, not really on anybody's radar at this point. They signed Sam Darnold as a backup to their first round pick, JJ McCarthy. McCarthy gets hurt before the regular season starts, and now Sam Darnold comes in, and boom, randomly he's an elite quarterback. Like literally, just completely out of the clear blue sky. That is like of course that happens to the Vikings in the Bears division when the Bears, try as they might, can never ever get a good quarterback, no matter who they draft and who they put in and who's coaching. That is the most typical thing in the world. But I mean, if the Packers beat the Vikings this week, if we think that the Vikings are actually good, which it looks like they are, like if the Packers win that game, I don't see how you could make any argument other than LaFleur at this point as a coach of the year front runner.
It's essentially for
other than Matt Eberflus. No,
it's essentially for the
bad coach of the year.
Yeah, it's essentially for the division lead though. And yeah, I mean, with Detroit, who knows what Detroit could do on Sunday on Monday, because they play the Seahawks. But they're still, it is really impressive what they've been able to do. When you look at the Colts game, in the first quarter alone, they just ran the ball like crazy. They gained an insane amount of rush yards, most by any team in the first quarter since 2011 with the Patriots and the Broncos. And then they come back against the Titans. Malik Willis has an incredible day. That defense plays well. That running game stays really well. So give credit to Matt LaFleur and this crew. And if they win this week against the Vikings, man, that's huge. So second down. So second down, Sam, here. The Cincinnati Bengals. I know you probably watched the Monday Night Football game, but the Cincinnati Bengals right now, dude, are 0-3. We've had talks on this show, me and Kedger Cav, about how this could potentially be the Cincinnati Bengals' last dance. This could be the last ride for this team. Jamar Chase hasn't got signed. T. Higgins is on a franchise tag. He is going to be here for at least one more year. They lose Tyler Boyd to free agency. He goes to the Titans. The Bengals offensive line just lost Trent Brown for the rest of the season. So that's an issue at tackle. They've struggled getting out of the gate. They lost to the Patriots. They lost close to the Chiefs. And then they lose to the Washington Commanders. And that is something that I don't even think I expected, but there has to be something that the Bengals need to do, because you go to 0-4, your season is pretty much down the tubes. There's only been, I believe that there was a stat out there, there's only been, I think, 4 teams that have came back from 0-3 to make the playoffs since 1991. So not many teams have been able to do it. And the Cincinnati Bengals, we have seen them do this before where they get off to these slow starts. But man, they got to find some answers, and they got to find some answers fast here, because their season right now, next week, could potentially be a must-win game for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that this game against Washington was a must-win game. I mean, 0-3 is seriously, that's grim territory. Definitely have to win this coming week if they want any chance of getting back into things. I mean, the Bengals, I don't really, honestly, this is kind of a shock to the system with what's going on with the Bengals right now. I mean, first of all, their run defense needs to get better. They're being run all over right now. I think they're allowing 142 yards per game roughly through 3 games. Those are specifically rushing yards, and as a result, it's been hard to stop teams. Obviously, it's been easy, and we saw that on Monday night. And part of that on Monday night was Jayden Daniels, outstanding rushing ability in his own right, and the Bengals just did not have an answer for it. Joe Burrow, he looked great on Monday night, but before that, he wasn't necessary. I don't know that he was really completely his usual self. I watched the Monday night game and he was throwing dimes. But heading into that, like they struggled. The offense struggled big time in week 1. I'm blanking on who they played in week 1. Do you remember? It was not a
they
good.
Play the Patriots.
Patriots. That's right. Yeah, there was that shocking game. That was like a survivor pool killer for so many people. I feel like that everybody was picking Bengals over the Patriots in week 1 as like one of the easiest ones. And then really the Bengals laid a complete egg. I think Joe Burrow had like under 200 yards passing. It was not good. And then that loss, I mean, that was really a costly loss because they had to go to Arrowhead the week after that, and they played really well there. Those games are always classics, Bengals Chiefs, and they lost on the walk-off field goal. So it's not like they played badly in that game, but when you go to Arrowhead, it's going to be really hard to come away with a win, which is why that Patriots loss was such a disaster. And then all of a sudden, Jayden Daniels just goes absolutely hog wild on Monday night in Cincinnati. Which in the Bengals defense had really no answer. So they need to figure out the defense. I think the offense with Joe Burrow and all those weapons, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they're going to figure themselves out, but they got to stop the run. And they got to become harder. I mean, seeing these teams kind of do whatever they want against the Bengals. And, if I was a Bengals fan, this is kind of a scary game that they have this Sunday. I mean, at Carolina, feels like a game that they should absolutely win. Obviously to have really any reasonable chance of climbing out of this hole, they need to get this game. And we just randomly saw the Panthers put up 36 last week with, you guessed it, another former Bears quarterback, Andy Dalton. So they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now. The Bengals are feeling terrible about themselves. I would be very nervous if I was a Cincinnati Bengals fan at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say too, this is the Carolina Panthers. Like, they are the San Jose Sharks of the NFL right now. I mean, they did just win a game against the Raiders.
They have a better record than the Bengals. They have a better record than the Bengals
but not like by much. But here's where it does, and I'll ask you this because you're a Bears fan. Incompetent ownership. Like, Mike Brown is the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. For the past several years, or the past several times that he's had all-star talent, he refuses to pay fully the amount for players that desperately probably deserve the money. We saw this issue with Carson Palmer when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, and it ended up being ugly. It's ended up right now being ugly with Jamar Chase, and it's ended up being ugly with T. Higgins. And right now, it's showing on the field that these two are struggling. I'm just curious, like, what do you do in this situation if you're an incompetent owner? Because like Mike Brown, like there has to be a point where he has to just stop being so selfish and just put his foot down and just say, okay, we're going to pay you this, take it or leave it.
Yeah. Stop being so cheap, really is what's really going on, especially in a league like the NFL where there's a hard salary cap. It's not even like baseball where there's no cap and everybody can spend as much as they want. I think exactly what you're describing is the reason that we saw the Bengals with Andy Dalton really be good, but never good enough to do anything meaningful during that entire tenure. It was like all the division, they won the division, I think like 7 years, or was it 7 years in a row? They were winning the division like every year, never won a playoff game. And they just never really got into any sort of Super Bowl relevance and ownership. It's just so frustrating when owners refuse to spend money, because it's like, what are we doing? Like, what is the point of all this? And I mean, I feel like it's a little bit short-sighted for a guy like Mike Brown or for some of these owners, because if he doesn't pay for star players, the attendance is going to drop a little bit and the ratings are going to drop a little bit. Now, the ratings will never drop significantly because it's the NFL. And that's kind of the luxury of being an NFL owner, is that people are always going to watch no matter what, and you're always going to make money. So that's why Mike Brown can get away with being cheap. But maybe he could really, guess what? You get into the playoffs, you start winning some playoff games, then you make a lot more money, because that's just 1,000%. That's 100% revenue. You don't even pay players for playoff games. So I just don't. It's always frustrating when we see an owner do that. I disagree that the Bengals window could become like, I don't buy into the last dance thing with the Bengals. I mean, I think as long as Joe Burrow's there, I think they have a chance. Kind of. I mean, Joe Burrow himself said that, which I agree with, and they'll be able to find ways to replenish receiving talent through the draft or other means. But it's certainly unfortunate because, if they can hold on to Chase and Higgins, they should be a Super Bowl contender every single year. And it's just, it sucks when owners aren't interested in that.
And it's tough. I mean, like, it's tough because Jamar Chase is a top 2 wide receiver in the National Football League. He should be getting paid. And like, if they were to let him walk, like, oh my God, like, how do you let that walk away from, how do you let him walk away when clearly there is a lot of money that could be spent for him to stay here. I mean, they paid Joe Burrow and that worked out. It's been working out since then. Now you've got to pay Jamar Chase, because you look at next year if they lose, let's say they lose Jamar Chase and they lose T. Higgins, they're stuck with Andre Ioshivas as their only other wide receiver.
God bless you.
On the team. And man, just it just doesn't fit well for what the Bengals timeline is. That's why I say it's the last dance, because it's potentially the last dance with this group together, because it could potentially be a possible rebuild in the future for this Bengals team. So that's tough for Cincinnati. Now we stick with, let's jump to our third down, and you're gonna hate this one, Sam. Jayden Daniels had a phenomenal performance, had a showing out against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football, and incredible performance. But don't look now, Sam. The Washington Commanders are first in the NFC East. How about that? How about that? But did not see that coming. And
Dan Snyder's not causing problems there anymore.
Yeah, Dan Snyder's not there anymore. But again, it feels like deja vu, Sam.
It feels like the Bears are cursed. Is that what it feels like?
It dares deja vu. I mean, look at the Bear. Like last year, the Panthers got got Bryce Young. The Texans got CJ Stroud. They went to the postseason. This year, Bears got Caleb Williams.
Oh my God.
The Commanders got Jayden Daniels. I mean, are we going to see this again in year 2 where the Commanders happen?
No, I'm not. I'm not ready to have that conversation yet. Well, one thing that's clear is that Jayden Daniels might be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. I'm definitely not ready to have the conversation about Jayden Daniels being better than Caleb Williams, or especially the idea that Williams is a bust and that the Bears should have taken Jayden Daniels. We don't know that yet. It's only been 3 games. I will say though, with that being said, that's the rational take on things. The emotional Bears meatball take, as I was sitting on my couch on Monday night, was of course, Jayden Daniels is going to be a 20-year Hall of Fame top 10 quarterback of all time, because just because the Bears could have drafted him but didn't. That is of course going to happen. I was very up in my emotions about that, but I'm not really ready to do that yet. I mean I'm certainly very ready to talk about Jayden Daniels being really good. I mean, that was incredible. He did some things. It was in the 4th quarter. I mean, there were multiple throws that were spectacular, and obviously all the rushing and everything. But it was that 4th quarter. I think it was 3rd down. The fadeaway, like while he was getting hit in the face.
The one to Terry McLaurin at the end of the game.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Yeah. Like one of the best throws that I have seen in years. That just while I don't even know how somebody does that. That looked like prime Aaron Rodgers to me. Like that was the most elite level, the falling back, getting hit, throwing the ball up at the last second, and just having it perfectly drop down. Like it could not have been more accurate in the end zone. That was, I like almost fell off my couch when that happened. So, again, it's only been 3 games. Like it's not, I don't think we should anoint Jayden Daniels yet as being like, an elite superstar quarterback, but definitely looking very much like he is going to be really good. And I think that's cool. I mean, exciting young quarterbacks are a lot of fun, and especially when they're on teams that have not had a lot of success lately. And now the Commanders don't feel as much like a grimy, gross, slimy organization now that they don't have one of the worst owners in sports at the helm anymore.
The McCaskies?
Yeah. The McCaskies, that's the McCaskies are not nearly as scummy as a guy like Dan Snyder.
Dan Snyder's scummy of the scummiest.
The McCaskies are not like they're not a bad ownership group in the sense, like they're not, I should say ownership group. They're not a bad ownership family in the sense that they're not like a really, they're not like a really slimy, like kind of sketchy operation. That's not their issue. Their issue is that they're dumb. Like they're idiots. They're like, I don't think it's as much about like them being just total scumbags. It's just they have no idea what they're doing or how to be successful. Dan Snyder was a huge problem, and he's gone now. And it feels like a lot of the tone has shifted in Washington, and Jayden Daniels is a huge part of that. I am not worried about Caleb Williams that much.
I was about to say,
maybe I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried, but like I'm not. It's not. I wouldn't even call it worried. I'm kind of like just aware. I guess I'm aware of my Bears scar tissue. But on the list of things that like I'm going crazy about with the Bears, Caleb Williams like doesn't even make the list. It's only been 3 games, and I am really not that freaked out about Williams yet. There's a lot of other stuff to be freaked out about with Chicago.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, he bowled out, and Yes, you do have to think too, like Cincinnati's defense, they rarely got any pressure on him, but like he played out of his mind. And especially that last drive to kind of ice the game away, that throw to Terry McLaurin. I mean, that's the stuff of legend right there. That's the stuff that you want to see your quarterback doing when the game is on the line and you need to put the game away. And he did it in excellent fashion.
It was one of the most unbelievable throws I've ever seen.
Oh my
And
God, yeah.
And Daniels, he didn't have as many passing yards as it seemed, but his completions were so spectacular and he was so flawless. He had 254 passing yards, 21 out of 23 on the completion attempts. I mean, he just wasn't missing, and he finished with a passer rating of 141.7. With 39 rushing yards to tack onto that.
It's pretty good.
It's
And
really an incredible game.
And Jayden Daniels balled out. He had 3 total touchdowns. But here's what's even more crazier, Sam. This was the first game since 1940 that we did not see a turnover or a punt.
Yeah, I heard
impressive.
that. I heard that. I was
impressive.
shocked. Honestly, I was shocked when I heard that. But I guess the NFL really is it hasn't been high scoring throughout most of its history. Like there've been a couple of recent years where the scoring has gone up a lot. But I think the NFL especially was typically more defensive than college. So I guess that's why that's the case. But that shocked me. I mean, 84 years since the last time that happened. No punt and no turnover. That's crazy.
Now I will a little side note, because on the Bears with Caleb Williams, Shane Waldron, he is now officially the most hated man in the city of Chicago. What do the Bears do? So. Like, what do the Bears do in that situation? Like, what do the Bears do like overall now? Because this is, Caleb Williams' team, and they have a good enough team to go and win it. It's just Eberflus.
A game against the Colts?
Let me phrase it. They have a good enough team to go make the playoffs this year.
Okay.
It's just
kinda
incompetence from the offensive coordinator and the head coach as well, and not giving Caleb Williams the opportunity to go out and execute, or go and do what he was, go and do what he was made to do when he was the number 1 pick at USC. They haven't seen that. I mean, you look back at it. Oh my God. You look back at the picture that I sent you of the Bears offensive linemen.
That was the funniest picture I've ever seen.
Falling on their butt.
That
was hilarious. That just goes to show.
Are we certain that picture was real?
It's real.
Like, for sure. It
100%.
Because I heard Mike Florio talking. He didn't say that it was Photoshop. He just said he needs to check to make sure it's real. That's how absurd the picture was. Like, I wish we could. Can we share that? It's probably on your phone and not your computer. If we can share that, but I don't. Maybe we can't share. I don't want you to take any risk with copyright violations. So I don't know if we can share that or not. But that just, are we? Do you want to go off on the Bears tangent now? Like, or are we doing something like, I don't want to take the show completely off the rails right now. But if you want to do the Bears tangent right now, we can do the Bears tangent.
Well, quickly, let's get through this first.
All right, fourth down.
Let's get to fourth down here, because we got fourth down, and several teams.
For it, or are we punting?
We're going for it.
All right.
We're always going for it.
Let's go.
Come on now. Tush push, baby. So several teams are 3-0. We have made it through the first 3 weeks. No team has taken a loss yet. Several teams are 3-0 to start the season. Who are those teams that are 3-0? The Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Justin Fields-led Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I couldn't help it. The Kansas City Chiefs, Sam's favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Seattle Seahawks. Out of all those teams that I mentioned, Sam, and you cannot say the Chiefs. I'm going to put that out there. You can't say the Chiefs because I know you're going to pick the Chiefs. But which 3-0 team has looked legit so far through the first 3 weeks of the season?
Man, this is really weird, isn't it? Like, the only team in there that's 3-0 that kind of like was expected to be 3-0 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, and I guess kinda Buffalo, but I think there were some reservations and some question marks around.
Uh-oh. And we lost Sam. Either way. Well, looking at the 3-0 teams and looking at what has gone, what has transpired, the Bills and the Vikings and the Seahawks and the Steelers. One team that I think that has been looking really legit, and it's been quite surprising to me, is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they lose Stephon Diggs, they lose Gabe Davis. Their wide receiving core kind of depleted. They kind of had to gut everything on the cap due to the salary cap. And it's tough because you look at the Bills' standpoint. We talked about this. Me and Kedrick talked about this. It basically was that they may finish last. And now here we are sitting. I mean, they just throttled the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wasn't even close of a competition. And now all of a sudden, here they are sitting at 3-0. And I think they're the best team in the NFL right now. Or not best team in the NFL. I think they're the best team at 3-0 right now. Joe Brady's doing a phenomenal job. He's doing a phenomenal job on the offensive side. He's giving Josh Allen a lot of the offense to control, a lot of the offense to work with. And it's another instance with Joe Brady that the Panthers really kind of screwed the pooch on everything that is wrong with the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers screwed everything wrong with what's wrong with the Carolina Panthers. And it's because you look at it. They had Andy Dalton, they're not Andy Dalton. They had Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Both those two are panning out really well. You had Matt Rule, who's now doing really successful in college football. He had the best record, by the way, in his tenure with the Panthers in the Dave Tepper era. So just let that sink in right away. Let that sink in right off the get-go as we have Sam back into the studio. But it wouldn't be, but I was just
about
talking
to say, yeah. It can't be.
It wouldn't be Snap the Pigskin without Sam's computer crashing.
Yeah, correct. That is correct. So we're back now.
I went on a tangent about the Carolina Panthers of how, because I said the Bills, I think, are the best 3-0 team, but just because Joe Brady has done a really good job as the offense coordinator, being successful with that group. But what's hilarious is the Panthers cannot get out of the way of the fact that they are the Carolina Panthers and they're stupid, because they had Joe Brady on their staff and they fired him. They fired Joe Brady. Okay. They thought that he was going to come in, make the Panthers a lot better. They fired him. Now he's doing successful at Buffalo. I'm just saying the Panthers might be the problem, but at 3-0, Sam,
bold statement.
Yeah. At 3-0, holy cow. Buffalo has just throttled through teams to start the season.
Yeah, that would have been the one. I think you asked which is the one that looks the most legit. To me, it's the Bills. You got the proven commodity elite quarterback in Josh Allen. They've been. I'm surprised because I feel like we all had question marks about their wide receiver play this year, especially after last year. It already wasn't that good, and they didn't really add to it. But I mean, that was an embarrassment that they delivered to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night this past week, 47-10. Josh Allen was 23 out of 30 with 4 touchdowns, 263 yards. And they really have just been the Dolphins, and they always handle the Dolphins, but again, they're not a bad team. And I know that was the very unfortunate game where Tua Tagovailoa left with a head injury, which was obviously scary to see. But 31-10 final score, Bills scoring 17 points in the second quarter on the road in Miami. And of course, I'm going backwards here, I realize, but their opening game of the season, probably the least impressive so far, but a 34-28 home win against Arizona. Josh Allen, very accurate, 18 out of 23, 2 touchdowns, 232 yards. And how about How about James Cook at running back? He has been
Yes.
really good as well, and I think that's been part of what has sort of boosted this offense as Cook has 188 yards through 3 games and 3 rushing touchdowns for 4.6 yards per carry, I believe. And that, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised at how dominant they've looked, but to me, they're the most real deal. But what I was saying as my computer just did the thing is this is a really weird group of 3-0 teams. Like, this is so random. The Steelers, the
Justin
Seahawks,
Fields led Steelers,
the Vikings. Like, this is so weird. Like, who are these people? Yeah, NFL is just, it's doing its weird randomness again.
Yeah. What's hilarious too, I will get into this Bears talk, but like, how does it feel? Justin Fields leading the Steelers right now to 3-0 while Caleb Williams is struggling. Like, how are we feeling about that, Sam? How's the Bears fan base feeling about that?
Well, okay. So how's the Bears fan base feeling? How am I feeling? Two different questions.
Both. Let's go with both.
Bears fan base is, as usual, is split. The group of fans that wanted to keep Justin Fields are being obnoxious and are more upset than the group of fans that wanted Caleb Williams. And I think there's a variety of reactions. I think there's some people that are looking back and regretting getting rid of Justin Fields. I think some people don't really care. I think some people still feel like the Bears made the right decision. Some people don't want to talk about it at all because it's just a meaningless conversation at this point. It's already happened. And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't really see the point of relitigating all of this. It's already done. Fields is not coming back. Caleb Williams is the quarterback. Like, there's no point in doing this anymore other than to just make ourselves miserable and want to go crawl under our bed and never come out. But I'll as far as my own reaction, and I hope you believe I've never been anything but honest with you on this show, Noah. Yeah. This is 100% authentic honesty. On this Snap the Pigskin show, and I can say without any bit of second guessing myself at all that at this point I do not give a single crap what Justin Fields is doing on the. I care in the sense, like I care in the sense that I'm glad he's winning. Like, I'm not rooting against him. Like, that's cool that he's winning, but the Steelers have an elite defense. I've been saying this for a few years. The Steelers are the classier, winninger version of the Bears. Like, they have an elite defense. They've got a good organization. Mike Tomlin is a really good coach. Justin Fields has been adequate in that environment, and he's been able to sort of, I guess, land the plane without crashing there, which is really, I'm glad. It's cool. It's cool to see him do that. And I think it's fun to see the Steelers starting out well like that, but I don't feel like at this point, after 3 games I don't really feel any sort of regret or second guessing whatsoever. I mean, I still think Caleb Williams is going to be a lot better than Justin Fields. And even if he's not, I don't think Fields was ever going to be a guy that would win a Super Bowl in Chicago anyway. There's just, he wasn't good enough to overcome the issues that Chicago had that Pittsburgh doesn't have.
You mean Luke Getsy and now Shane
I mean,
Waldron.
Just general incompetency across the organization.
Yeah. So now let's backtrack and now let's talk about this, Sam. I'm curious to hear your thoughts now with the Bears so far through the first 3 weeks.
Well, I mean, okay. I could probably just log off now and you could find some clip from last year on Snap the Pigskin and just put it in because it's going to be exactly the same thing, and just take out Luke Getsy everywhere and put Shane Waldron. And like, it's just the Bears, they don't know what, they're just not even smart enough to understand what they're doing. Like, they don't know why the stuff that doesn't work. Like, I think they don't even have, like, they keep doing the same thing over for my entire life. Like, I don't even like, I don't think they realize like why it's not working. Or maybe they don't even like it's, I don't know if they just think that they don't have the right players, or they just need to find a better coach every time, or what it is. But like, I just, it's gotta start with the McCaskey. You know what nobody's talking about is the McCaskey. Like, it has to, because this keeps happening with different general managers, different head coaches, different coordinators, different players, different quarterbacks. It keeps on being the same result. The only thing that has stayed the same is the ownership. So it like, at certain point, they just don't know how to hire people. And so every single time we get a general manager that doesn't know how to put an offensive line together. And I don't want to rip on Ryan Poles.
He's done a good job. He's done a good job.
This is a low bar, but I like Ryan Poles better than I've liked recent Bears general managers.
Whoa.
Like, and it's hard to be too hard. It's hard to really rip into Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
With how after he completed the greatest trade in the history of sports with the Carolina, like the worst fleecing of all time in professional sports. That being said, though, I don't know whether it's because he didn't feel like it was a priority or because he doesn't know how. We're still stuck with a horrible offensive line, which is just a broken record in Chicago. That problem is being exaggerated by the fact that Bears coaches, probably mostly Shane Waldron, don't seem to be doing anything to try to make that problem less of an issue. Like, it's like these coordinators make me so mad, dude. They make me so mad. Like, they think that they have everything perfectly laid out. All of their plays are good. Like, well, if we had good players, then our plays would work. But like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you don't have good play, if your plays aren't working because the personnel isn't good enough, you need to figure out plays that you can put in that work with the personnel. You can't just keep running the same plays over and over and go, well, the offensive line, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, after a few games, we need to do something that they can do. If they can't do it, like, we need to move off of it. And the Bears never understand that. Like, it was the same thing with Luke Getsy. It was the same thing with Matt Nagy, honestly. And they just dig in and they're like, well, it's execution. It's execution. It's accountability. And then execution. Did I say that already? Execution. and like, they just don't understand that not everything works with every group of players. You have to adapt, especially when you have a rookie quarterback. You have a team that's ready to win in other areas, like on defense, and at the wide receiver position. I don't know whether DeAndre Swift suddenly sucks, or whether the Bears have found a way to make him look like the worst running back in the world. But he, like, DeAndre Swift is literally, I can't stand watching him. It's like he's looking for people to run into. He's like, I need to break a tackle somewhere. Let me run into somebody. And then he gets tackled. I don't know if that's because he's bad or if that's because the offensive line can't do anything. I know if I see another quick screen to a wide receiver with like, if I see another wide receiver screen with like a 5'10", 160-pound wide receiver blocking, I think like my head is going to explode. Like, I don't know what we're doing. And then all of this stuff, this all just leads to, I think the play in Indianapolis, on 4th and goal from the 1,
that was ridiculously stupid.
I think that is like, that's
goofball,
a play.
That is goofball like behavior right there.
That's a play that is going like that. That's going to go down in Bears lore. That play, like that's an all-time play. That will be one of the defining moments of this season. And on it, like, we're going to look back if Shane Waldron gets, just completely sucks and gets fired to Timbuktu in a couple of years, this year or whatever, next year. Like, we're going to look back, and the defining moment of the Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus coalition is going to be that absurd play, the likes of which I don't know. I mean, it was just, every bit of it was like the worst thing imaginable. And that picture that you sent me was one of the funniest pictures I've ever seen of every Bears offensive lineman lying on the ground at the goal line with 5 gigantic angry men charging DeAndre Swift with like nobody to block. That was the most comical thing. And the thing that was so funny about that picture was that DeAndre Swift had just gotten the ball. Like he literally just got, like Caleb Williams tosses it to him and he looks up and there's literally 1,000 pounds of players in front of him running him down. More than that, right? If it's like 250 pounds per player, it's probably 1,200 pounds that he looks up as soon as he gets the ball. Like that was 2 seconds into the play. How is it even possible that the play has lasted 2 seconds and somehow every offensive lineman has fallen down and every Colts player is in the backfield? Like that's what happens when you ignore all aspects of the personnel and the roster construction and try to just go with the play that you want, just the Madden play. Like, it's in the playbook. It works. When I drew it out on my napkin, it was a beautiful play. So I'm going to use it. And these offensive linemen, nobody told me they were terrible. I didn't realize they were terrible. I thought I could use this play. Well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to keep running the same play again and again. And I don't know why it's not working, but the offensive line continues to be terrible. Oh my God. So yeah, that's
about it.
Yeah. So that's about it. Yeah. That's kind of why I'm not, Caleb Williams isn't really high on my list of concerns right now, because I feel like I've actually seen Caleb Williams do some encouraging things so far, I think, especially when you consider all the stupid stuff that's going on.
Just all that is the reason why Caleb Williams isn't the real problem. That's
well, I mean, I once like he hasn't been good. Like he needs to improve. And like especially in the first, there's been moments in all 3 games where he's been terrible. He's made terrible decisions. But I feel like I've seen some comforting moments from him. He had a really great deep pass against the Colts to Rome Odunze. He's had some good moments, and I feel like he's gradually looked more competent through, each game. Like with him being so early in his career, I'm not really worried about him yet. What I am worried about is that he's not going to be able to do anything this season because the people that are running the show are literally the exact same human beings as the last 2 quarterbacks have had, just under different names and disguises. They took Polyjuice Potion like in Harry Potter, and they're the same people. They just look different.
So what if, like, last question, because we got to get to bring home the bacon and pigskin picks. Ben Johnson. What are the odds that they could land Ben Johnson?
Zero.
You don't think that they would want Ben Johnson?
No, I don't.
No,
I think that's too smart for them. He's too good at his job for them. And the Bears are way too just vanilla and risk averse. I don't even really think Ben Johnson's a risk, but to them it probably seems like, oh my God, a scary offensive guy. Oh no. Like I just feel like the Bears won't do something that classy. And they're definitely not going to fire Shane Waldron after 1 year. That never happens. They never fire people that quickly. And to think that they could have had Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. But alas. Bearded Matt Eberflus not making the transformation that I thought that he might.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you see when they had to call a timeout because they didn't know that they were going for 2? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, dude. Like they had to, like literally they were down 14-3. It was the Colts game, down 14-3, scored a touchdown, sent the kicking unit out there. So it was 14-9. Like they should have gone for, they should have gone for 2 to make it a 3-point game. But they sent the kicking unit out there and then realized we need to go for 2 and then wasted a timeout. in the fourth quarter when they were down, when they just scored to get within one possession because some idiot on the sideline put up a 1 and Matt Eberflus didn't realize it until like the entire kicking unit was out there and he had to call a timeout.
Oh my God. That's too funny. Dude, the Bears, funniest team in football. They're up there with the Carolina Panthers now as being the funniest team in football. Moving forward here, we got 10 minutes left on our show. That was a good rant by Sam.
I feel better right now.
You feel a lot better?
Yeah,
you feel
I actually do.
While you were going on that Bears rant, I thought I saw steam poking out of your headphones there.
Yeah, I got to check and make sure they're.
Yeah.
Make sure they're all right.
Okay. So bringing home the bacon this week. Time for more fun here. Bringing home the bacon. Jayden Daniels, dominating performance, 3 touchdowns total, and a win and a upset over the Bengals on the road. The Commanders leading the NFC East, and Jayden Daniels keep this run going. Potentially, could he win Rookie of the Year over Caleb Williams? We will see. Probably. We will see. But congrats to Jayden Daniels. He gets to be put on our slab of bacon. And so phenomenal stuff there.
I want you to make an actual
slab.
It won't be actual bacon because that like obviously wouldn't work long term. But like if you could get like whether it's like a piece of cloth that is designed to look like bacon or just like a wooden slat. Yeah, like that would be great. Yeah. That would be hilarious.
I'll try and we might have to do that sometime.
Or even like a t-shirt or a plaque or something.
And then just mail it to Jayden Daniels. Mail it to the player who wins it.
He would, I mean, that would be an honor. He should be grateful for getting that honor.
As he should.
Just about the highest honor you could get. Honestly, I honestly think bringing home the bacon might be a more prestigious award than Walter Payton Man of the Year. I'm just saying.
I didn't say it.
I don't want to get all controversial, but I think
record show Sam Gemini.
I think it goes. I think it goes like Super Bowl is third, or no?
Super Bowl is third.
There's Super Bowl is a team award, so I guess it's different. So I guess for individual awards, MVP third, Walter Payton Man of the Year second. Bringing home the bacon,
third,
number one.
So 1A, 1B.
Okay, I guess I'll compromise on that.
1A, 1B. Oh, okay. So, let's get to pigskin picks here, Sam. Our pigskin primetime picks. We're gonna wrap this up here. So to start, we got our Thursday night matchup. The New York Giants are playing the Dallas Cowgirls.
This is such a
at MetLife Stadium. I got that wrong on the.
Why did you call them cowgirls? Do you think that they're worse? Do you think calling them girls makes them worse?
No, it's just a funny joke.
Wow.
Come on, Sam.
I am offended.
Anyways, the Giants play the Cowboys. Dallas struggling. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Saints. They got kicked by the Saints. Week 1 win over the Browns. Now here we go. If they lose to the Giants, that's a rough look.
We got problems.
Yeah, that's a bad look right there for the Dallas Cowboys. Sam, who we picking for this game in this matchup here?
Look, I mean, the funny pick is obviously the Giants, but I'm going Cowboys here. I mean, I think this is kind of a get-right game for them. Obviously, there's no guarantees in the NFL, as we saw last week. Last week, by the way, was just a bizarre week. I mean, from Thursday all the way through Sunday night, like we had these crazy comebacks, the Rams coming back to beat the 49ers. We had the
Cowboys
Baltimore
almost coming back.
Yeah. Like in the Bears game was like I would say it's the weirdest game I've ever seen, but I've seen like 100 Bears games in my life. So that was pretty much like par for the course. But that was just a strange day. So clearly anybody can win on any day in the NFL, but I think the Cowboys get right here. I have a feeling I'm not feeling the Giants in this game. This to me seems like one where the Cowboys, all right, let's snap out of it and just pancake the Giants on national TV. If that doesn't happen, then there's serious issues in Dallas, and there already are serious issues, to be honest. But this is really, they need to just take a deep breath and get everybody to relax by winning this game. So I go Cowboys in this game.
Yeah, Kedrick. So Kedrick goes Cowboys by 14 on his prediction.
Oh, you want me to give a score?
Yeah. What's your score prediction here?
Cowboys by 30.
That's okay. Okay. Cowboys by 30.
I mean, every Cowboys game has been a blowout, basically, hasn't it?
Actually,
I guess the
the
one
Baltimore
became
game doesn't.
close. It became
Baltimore
close.
game became close, but yeah, Kedrick's got Cowboys by 14. I have Cowboys winning this game too. I got them winning it by 10. I think Dallas. I think you're right. This is a get right game for Mike McCarthy and this squad. The defense hasn't played really well the last couple games. They haven't played well stopping some of these different offenses, but now here you go. You got Daniel Jones. You have a chance to make things right with your team. There's a lot of hope for this Cowboys team. I got them winning it Thursday night against the Giants. Next up, big game Sunday night. Bills and the Ravens.
I wish we could pick the 325 game. I am just this Chiefs Chargers. I love those.
Yeah.
Like that is such a huge game. But and it's Harbaugh versus Andy Reid. Oh my God, that's going to be so sick.
It's going to be TV.
Sunday night, it was also really good.
But yes, Sunday night, pretty good. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. The Bills 3-0. The Ravens 1-2. They got in the win column. This game at Baltimore, I believe. Yes, it is at Baltimore, at M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens trying to get themselves on the right foot forward here. They can go to 2. They can go to 2-2 and potentially give the Bills their first loss. So to start this one, Sam, Kedrick has the Bills by 3. What say you for this game for Bills Ravens?
Man, this is a tough a chance, and this is pretty far in the future, but could be a chance of rain on Sunday night, which I don't know whether that really favors either team. They're both pretty good at running the ball. I think I got to go with the Ravens here. I think at home, they are coming off the win. They need this to get back to 500. I think this is going to be a really good game. I certainly, obviously, either team can win. But I think I'm going. The Ravens looked elite. Maybe that's just because they were playing the Cowboys. But I just think, they, maybe unlocked something a little bit last week. I think Lamar Jackson and that offense are going to get it done.
Yeah. I would say I think the Ravens win this game. I think the big thing for Baltimore is they've got to continue to just keep getting the ball in Lamar's hands, get to your running backs, get that running game going early, because we've seen it with this Ravens team. When they get that running game going early, it's very hard to slow them down, and that opens up Lamar to start throwing the ball a little bit more and start doing his thing a little bit more in the rushing category. I got Ravens winning this one. I got Ravens winning this one by 3. I think it's going to be very close. I think the Bills, I think Josh Allen too. At some point, Josh Allen is going to do too much and try and force some plays. We saw that in the Cardinals game. This is another situation where I think it happens against the Ravens. I think John Harbaugh and this crew going to game plan schematically to stop Josh Allen from kind of running outside the pocket and basically have him use his arm. And that's the key. If you can force him inside the pocket and not have him run, it makes things a lot easier. So I got Ravens by 3.
I'll say by 2, by the way, for my margin. Yeah, Ravens by 2.
Okay. And then the last one, the Monday Night Football matchup. It's a doubleheader.
Titans-Dolphins.
The Titans-Dolphins. We're not even going to get into that. The Titans-Dolphins.
I think that the viewing audience is going to be the one that loses in that game.
Ooh, the worst, the NFL's worst offense this year, the Miami Dolphins against the Will Levis-led Titans. But no, that's not what we're picking. Seattle and Detroit. The Seahawks. I believe it's the last 2 or 3 times now, have beaten the Detroit Lions in the regular season. And here we go again. It's at Ford Field, Monday Night Football. Geno Smith and that crew, they're playing well under Mike McDonald in Seattle. And also, too, who would have thought the Seattle Seahawks would be sitting at 3-0 all of a sudden? Not I. But now here we go. Big test for Seattle on the road at Detroit. Who do we got here in this one, Sam? Well, let's start with Kedrick. Kedrick has Detroit by 7 in this game. What do you think Seahawks Lions is going to be?
Yeah, a very interesting game. I'm very intrigued to see the Seahawks on prime time with a real test here to find some things out about them. But I also got to go Lions here. I think the Seahawks, exciting to watch so far. I feel like they got to come back down to earth a little bit, and especially on the road. Against I think this Detroit team is better than them, really, and we've seen the Seahawks play really well. But yeah, I think the Lions are going to get it done here. I'm going to say Lions by 4.
Lions by 4. I am also going to take you on that. I think Lions by 3. I think Seattle, while they're a good team, I think this is where Mike McDonald hits his first bump in the road, and it's the Detroit Lions. I think defensively, we haven't seen the Seattle Seahawks team really go out and show their defensive powers against a team like the Detroit Lions. And I think the Lions, really this year, this is kind of their year to really show people, hey, we were good last year. We can do it again this year and be even better. So I got Lions winning this one in this matchup. And with that does it for us here. If you are all watching this episode and it is your very first time watching this episode, feel free to watch Snap the Pigskin at www.youtube.com/snapthepigskin or listen wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, any other spot. And also, too, don't forget, you can listen to Sam's podcasts as well. He's got the Puckworms podcast and the Linksworms podcast as well. He just had an episode that dropped yesterday or a couple days ago, and he's going to record one hopefully soon again. So feel free to give a listen to that, because NHL preseason starting up here.
Yep. Yes, sir.
It's that preseason.
Blackhawks play tonight. So very fun time for Puckworms with my co-host Anthony. If you like hockey, if you think I didn't know anything about football, he
knows a lot more about hockey.
Probably true. Yeah, I know a lot.
He knows a ton about hockey.
And the golf one has been really fun as well. So if you're a golf fan, tune into Linksworms. You can find those wherever you get your podcasts, except YouTube. We're not on YouTube right now, but we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. And so, Sam, thank you for coming on the show. Kedrick, hopefully we'll be back next week. But with that,
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. And with that does it for us here on another edition of Snap the Pigskin.